Good morning and welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Monday morning. Hope everyone had a nice weekend. It is, of course, game day. We do play Wigan later on today. Oh, sorry, bless me. But before we do that, obviously, we've got a massive show to bring you guys this morning. Before we start the show, I do ask one small favour. Please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching. On the show this morning, we're going to be talking about a bidding war for Jean-Claire Todibo of Nice. We'll also be bringing you news on a big injury boost with two key players set to return to the matchday squad in the next 1 to 2 weeks. That's really positive. We'll also be reacting to a story about who the new sporting director is going to be, when that will happen, and all the rest of that good stuff. Lots of other bits to get into. You know what it's like in the transfer window. It's so busy. So yeah, so much to get into. I do invite you to have your say on all things Manchester United in the comment section below. So let me know your thoughts. What's your score prediction for the game against Wigan tonight? You know, if you've got players you think that we should be signing in January, just get involved in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Right, let's start the show off with this story about Jean-Claire Todibo, though. What I want you guys to do, actually, I want you to let me know who your number one centre-back target is. Is it Jean-Claire Todibo? Is it Gonzalo Inacio? Is it, who is it? Let me know in the comment section. For me, I've always said Antonio Silva of Benfica, but I do appreciate that the type of money it's going to cost to bring someone like Antonio Silva to Manchester United is absolutely crazy. He's got a release clause of around 100 million euros, 87 million pounds. I mean, that's absolutely mental, isn't it? Apparently Chelsea are interested in Antonio Silva as well. He would be my number one option, but I think he's more of a summer signing than a January signing. I think, there is the potential that United go and get this Jean-Claire Todibo deal done in January. And if they can do it, maybe on, staggered payment terms where they pay, I don't know, say they buy him for 30 million, they pay 5 now, 5 in the summer, 5 next year, 5 next summer, etc. Because that's how deals usually work, So when people say we don't have any money, you very rarely have to pay 100% of a transfer up front. Like, we're still paying for Jadon Sancho to Dortmund. We're still paying Ajax for Anthony, I believe. Like, that's just how transfers work. I think we're still paying Leicester for Harry Maguire. So when people say we don't have any money, the actual types of money we're going to need to get this deal done is probably somewhere around 5 to 10 million, because you could stagger the payments over, the next 2, 3, 4 years. That's how deals work. So I don't really understand this whole argument of, we don't have the money, we don't have this, we don't have that. Like, we definitely will have, at least around 5 million to be able to go and get some sort of deal done. But in relation to this morning's news, the headline is that Manchester United, Chelsea and AC Milan are all battling to sign Jean-Claire Todibo from Nice this month. And the story does go on to say that Nice hope to keep the defender. This is the bit that confuses me, right? And where does the loyalty align? Because Jim Ratcliffe owns all of Nice, I believe. But he only owns 25% of Manchester United. So if I'm Jim Ratcliffe, I've got Nice, who are on the brink of, I think, having their greatest season in the last maybe 10 years. Or you've got Manchester United, who at the moment are a mid-table team, out of the Champions League, out of the League Cup, hopefully not out of the FA Cup tonight. But you know what I'm saying? Like, United's season, whether you like it or not, is effectively over. If we were to get top 4 now, it would be an absolute miracle. We'd have to go on a run of winning like 10 games in a row, I think, to kind of come anywhere near the top 4. And the point I'm trying to raise here is, right, if you were Sir Jim Ratcliffe, okay, and you owned 100% of a football club, would you rather sell your best player and probably then not get Champions League football to a team whose season has ultimately been written off? Like, it doesn't really make sense from Jim Ratcliffe's perspective. And imagine if you're a Nice fan, right? You're sitting second in the French league. They're currently 7 points above Lille, who are 5th in the French league. So they're very comfortably in the top 4 at the moment. Halfway through the season, it would take, they'd have to really have a disaster to not get top 4 now, being 7 points ahead of 5th place at this point. I mean, if I'm Jim Ratcliffe, I know obviously he's supposedly a Manchester United fan, but I would probably, say to Jean-Claire Todibo, you can stay until the summer and then you can go, because the amount of money they would make from qualifying for the Champions League will be absolutely crazy. I think it's at least like 30, 40 million pounds you get for just for qualifying for the Champions League. So, them selling Todibo now for 30 million staggered over 2 or 3 years versus keeping him for the next 5 months and qualifying for the Champions League. Like, it doesn't really make sense. So I think the only way that this deal could potentially happen is if, a club is stupid enough to throw silly money at them. Obviously, Chelsea, as soon as you throw Chelsea into that mix, we know that Chelsea are renowned for throwing stupid offers at players. They paid over 100 million for Moises Caicedo. He was never worth that. They paid over 100 million for Enzo Fernandez. He was never worth that. If you look through some of Chelsea's signings, I mean, they bought that guy from Leicester, didn't they? Was it Fofana? Like, let me just have a look at how much they paid for Fofana. I'm pretty sure it was about 80 million pounds. They paid 75 million pounds for that Wesley Fofana guy. That's the kind of money that Nice are going to want, isn't it, to sell him in the January window, because they know that Chelsea are stupid enough to do it. So I don't know. Will this happen in January? I think probably not, purely because of the position Nice are in at the moment, and purely because of the fact that this is Nice's opportunity to qualify for the Champions League. This is their chance. Florian says, hi, Kieran. Do you think we should sell Pellistri or loan out Anthony? I would probably loan Pellistri now until the summer. And then in the summer, if there was a genuine offer for Anthony, I probably would sell him. But I just don't think at the moment you're going to be able to sell Anthony. I just don't think it's realistic. Like, nobody's going to buy Anthony. Al says, don't only 3 French teams qualify for the Champions League? Yeah, but no, they've brought in this new rule thing, haven't they? Where depending on how far certain teams get in certain competitions. So at the moment, it's the top 3 in the French league, but obviously there are varying factors. So yeah, I mean, at the moment they're only 4 points ahead of the 4th place, to be fair. So if things carry on as they are, 4 points isn't much of a cushion, is it? That's 1 loss and the other team are a point behind you. So you do make a good point. And if anything, that really emphasises what, my thoughts are on this situation. But it's just frustrating as a United fan because we need to move forward. And I don't really care what the Nice fans think, to be honest, because we support Manchester United. We've just got this new ownership that's been branded as this new beginning and they're going to bring us back to the top. Well, it's clear to see that we need a centre-back. It's obvious. It doesn't take a genius to know that we need a centre-back. And we know that the centre-back we want is Jean-Claire Todibo. So if I'm Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I'm in a very difficult position. And I get it, it's difficult. Because if he sells Todibo to United, they might not get Champions League then. And the Nice fans will say, well, you sold our best player in January. This is why our season fell apart. So it's difficult. Malp says, late show today, Kieran. Yeah, so just a heads up to all the regulars. I'm going to be doing the shows a bit later. So I'm going to be live at about 11 a.m, 11:15 going forward. I've been trying to keep doing the shows first thing in the morning, but I don't really enjoy it as much, to be honest. Like, I like to get up, have a bit of time to, just wake up a bit. And I think because it's now the winter in the UK and it's dark like until 8:30 in the morning, and some of you might not care, but I'm just telling you for the regulars so you understand what's going on. It's obviously dark in the morning. So I'm not waking up till a bit later, going to bed later. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas in the summer, I would wake up at about 6:30 every day because it's light at 5. So I'm going to change the show to about around 11 a.m. every day, 11:15 in the morning, and then obviously in the evening it will be around the same time as usual. Obviously it will take a little bit of time for people to start to adjust, but yeah, that's what's going to happen going forward. So maybe I'll change it back in the summer, but at the moment, like, it makes a lot more sense for me. I feel a lot more clear-headed and awake at this time of day, whereas when I first wake up, it's been quite intense to go straight behind a computer with all the lights and and the pressure of people watching, and you know what I mean in it. It's difficult. But anyway, let's get back to football. So yeah, the shows going forward will be at about 11 a.m. in the morning, and then the usual 6:30 p.m. type show. Obviously big ups to everyone who's joined me this morning, and apologies for anybody who maybe can't watch the shows, but yeah. Right, let's crack on with the rest of the show though. So let me know your thoughts on Todibo. Do you think United will go for him? People saying we can't afford him, we can't afford him. As I said earlier on, transfers are spread over a number of years, okay? So if they wanted 30, 40 million for him, they're not going to want that all in one installment. It would be over the next 5, 6 years. It's usually over the length of the contract. So that's what would happen. But I have this funny feeling that Chelsea are going to sign him, to be honest. I feel like Chelsea have the money to offer, 50, 60 million, and Nice would not be able to reject that. Whether Sir Jim Ratcliffe is one of the richest people in the world or not, that doesn't really make a difference. If somebody offers 50, 60 million for Jean-Claire Todibo, then they're going to, they'll accept it at the end of the day. Right. Let's crack on with the rest of the show, though. Let's talk a little bit about the game tonight against Wigan. I mean, it's an absolutely massive game. I know that sounds a little bit strange, but it really is. It really is our only chance of winning a trophy this season. We should go and beat them. Obviously, we should. I mean, Wigan are sat at 18th in League One, but we're not going into it in the best of form. Let's be honest. We just lost to Nottingham Forest. We beat Aston Villa. That was a convincing win. Lost to West Ham. Lost to Bayern Munich and drew to Liverpool when we arguably probably should have lost that game. So, other than that second half against Aston Villa, we haven't been convincing in probably 5 to 10 games, have we? I mean, when I look through, Chelsea we were quite convincing, but that was in that was over a month ago. That was the 6th of December. Like in our last 10 fixtures, the only one where I can really say we were convincing was against Chelsea, and in the second half against Aston Villa. I mean, the further back you go, even the 3-0 win against Everton, I think that was quite a lucky result, and Everton probably should have scored a couple of goals in that first half. But anyway, let's focus on the match tonight. Wigan, as I said, are in a terrible run of form at the moment, pretty much at the bottom of League One. It's their biggest game of the season. It's probably the biggest game, in the last 10 years for Wigan. They used to be a top side, like very many years ago, but they're simply not anymore, and they've just fallen further and further down the table. Now, in relation to team news, Rasmus Højlund is apparently available. I would like to see people like Ahmad play. I would like to see Kobe Mainoo play. Maybe you see Dan Gore play. Will that happen? I'm not sure. I think that Erik ten Hag might go full strength, because if he was to lose tonight, which could happen, I know this sounds absolutely crazy, right? But where I am with Manchester United at the moment is I genuinely think like games like this are 50-50. It could go either way. Because not because our players aren't good enough, but because of their mentality. If Wigan were to get an early goal, I think their heads would drop. I think Wigan would probably park the bus, and I think we'd struggle to break them down. And we're very, very easy to play against. So it's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, we'll beat them 5-0, we're going to thrash them. But I genuinely don't believe that. I think it could genuinely go either way. But what's everyone thinking for the game tonight? What are your score predictions? Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Let's have a look. Malp says this is going to get messy between Nice and Man United going forward. There's going to be a real hatred. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree. I'll come back to that in a minute. Al says, is Manchester United or Nice Jim Ratcliffe's priority? I mean, that's a great question, and it's one that I would actually be asking Jim Ratcliffe if we ever get one of these types of interviews with him, because what happens if United and Nice are both in the Champions League? Because as far as the rules go at the moment, only one club can be in the Champions League. So there's all these different things that we need to consider, but Chris says, it doesn't make any sense to sell Todibo at a discount from a club you own 100% of to one you only own 25% of. Exactly. It doesn't. Like, unless Man United offers stupid money for Todibo, they're not going to do that. But anyway, let's get back to the game tonight. Obviously, Rasmus Højlund is available, which is a positive. I think he'll thrive against, these lesser defenders. Like, I'm not being horrible at all, but in the Premier League, it hasn't quite worked yet, has it? I think he's going to turn into a world-class player. I really, really do. He's shown that in the Champions League, but he has struggled in the Premier League. And that's mainly because he's not been getting the delivery. He's not been getting, the ball passed to him. Whereas I think in a game like this against Wigan, we are playing against a lesser opponent, let's be honest. Like, Wigan are not a good side. They're nearly bottom of League One. Like, that is... Yeah, I don't know. They're a poor team at the end of the day, and we are Manchester United. Whether that means anything anymore is up for debate, but we still have... a team of international superstars versus a team of people who play in the League One. But yeah, I think we have to win. I do. I think we have to win. Like, I know that sounds obvious, but I mean, imagine if we didn't win tonight. It'd be awful. Richie says defeat tonight means bye-bye Ten Hag. No shock so far. I can see Man United getting turned over. Well, let me know what your score predictions are in the comment section, everybody, for the game tonight against Wigan. I think we will win. I'm going to go 2-0. I think we have to win, and I think Erik ten Hag will go full strength. Some of you might even prefer not full strength, because full strength is probably Rashford, Antony, Bruno Fernandes. You know what I mean? Like, whereas I don't know whether Mason Mount's available. Mount says if we lose tonight, Erik ten Hag has to go. I'll say this, right? I think if we were to lose against Wigan tonight, it would be almost impossible for him to keep his job. Because that's embarrassing. Losing to West Ham 2-0 was embarrassing. Losing to Nottingham Forest was embarrassing. Like, we've had so many poor results this year, but I believe in Erik ten Hag. It would be very difficult for me to stick up for Erik ten Hag if we were to get knocked out of the FA Cup in the third round against Wigan. You know? Especially, like, we haven't played a football match for 9 days. So you can't say, oh, they're tired, oh, there's been too many matches, oh, this, that, and the other. There's no excuses tonight, okay? There's no, oh, we're missing Casemiro, we're missing Martinez. You're playing against Wigan. I'm sorry. Like, you're playing against Wigan. You've still got a full team of international superstars. I mean, how many Wigan players play for an international country? Probably like a couple, tops. I mean, maybe not even any. I would say probably like 1, maybe 2 of their players have ever played any international football. And that's probably being kind, realistically. I'm just having a quick look now. Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of their players have ever played international football. So, yeah, you get where I'm going with this. Ishmael says we want to see Altay Bayinda. Yeah. I don't think he's going to start, to be honest, mate. I think we're going to see Onana again. But, yeah. Right, let's crack on with the rest of the show, though. Remember to get me your score predictions in the comment section below. Let's move over to the injury boost headline. So this is coming out directly from Erik ten Hag. He had a press conference last night ahead of the Wigan game today. And he said that, first of all, obviously that Rasmus Højlund will return today, which is massive, massive positivity for Man United. Hopefully that can build him up a bit of confidence. And then in relation to Casemiro and Martinez, he said they'll be back in the matchday squad in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So they're not expected to be available today. I don't think they'll be available against Tottenham on... Is that this weekend? Or is that a week away? When's the Tottenham game? Tottenham game's on Sunday. So I don't think they'll be available for Tottenham on Sunday. But they should be available for Wolverhampton Wanderers, which is on the 1st of February. So back for that really, really busy spell. We've got Wolves away, then we've got West Ham at home, and then we've got Aston Villa away. I mean, those 3 fixtures, Wolves should have beaten us at Old Trafford. West Ham at home, like, you have to be winning that. Aston Villa away, I think, will be very difficult. And then even when you look after that, you've got Luton away, which I know people say it's only Luton, but that's their biggest game of the year. And then you've got Man City away. So we've got an incredibly difficult run of fixtures. And the fact that Casemiro and Martinez will be back in time for that run, that's when I'm really going to start judging Erik ten Hag. Because to this point, I've been fully agreeing with him that, you know, we've got these injury problems. You know, we've been missing loads of players. We've not been able to have a coherent, consistent lineup. And I agree with all of that. And I feel for him. I do, because it's difficult. Like, imagine how difficult it must be every week to not know who's going to be fit and who's not. Or every week to know that your best centre-back, Martinez, is still injured. It's difficult. So I've been holding back a bit of my judgment until we have this full-strength squad. And then at that point, you can't make any excuses, you know? It can't be, oh, this other player's injured. Oh, Pellistri went out on loan. Like, once Martinez is back, once Casemiro's back, that's the spine of our team. You know, once you've got Martinez, Varane, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Bruno, Højlund, Garnacho, Rashford, whoever it might be, once you have that first team, for let's say for 3 to 5 games, if we don't see a massive improvement in our play, then obviously at that point you have to really start asking questions, because, you know, that's kind of what's been holding on for Erik ten Hag for me, is that all of these injuries, I find it difficult to criticise him, because I genuinely think that he's been operating in an incredibly difficult job. Aaron says United will win as long as they don't down tools again. Yeah. Malp says Bayinda seriously needs to consider his future, not to even get a game in the cup competitions. Yeah. Al says, when is Onana going to the Africa Cup of Nations? Well, apparently Onana is going to play tonight, or is going to be available tonight at least. And he's also going to be available for the Tottenham game on Sunday. So, I don't know, to be honest. I really don't understand why we sold, what was he called? Matić Kova, and brought in this other goalkeeper. I mean, that's crazy as well. So, Onana's apparently going to be available or is going to play against Tottenham on Sunday, right? And then the next day, he plays Guinea in the Africa Cup of Nations. So he's going to leave Manchester, fly straight to, I'm not sure where the Africa Cup of Nations is being held, but he's going to fly straight to Africa and then play football the next day. He'll be at the Africa Cup of Nations probably until mid-February, depending on how Cameroon do in their group. I'll be honest with you. Let's have a quick look. Africa Cup of Nations favourites. So apparently Morocco are the favourites to win the Africa Cup of Nations. Sorry, no, they're not. Senegal are the favourites, then Morocco, then Algeria, then Ivory Coast, then Egypt, then Cameroon. So, yeah, I mean, we can expect... I imagine Cameroon, Onana's team will go quite far. But I'll be honest with you, I don't really watch the Africa Cup of Nations. I probably will watch some of it, to be honest. I'm quite interested, but usually I haven't watched it. So I'll be honest, I don't really know. Like, I'm just having a look at who Cameroon have got. I mean... Yeah, they've got that Anguissa guy who plays for Napoli. They've got that Abubakar. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, most of So we'll have to wait and see. What else have we got in the chat? Everyone who's just joined, please smash a like on the video. By the way, let's try and hit 200 likes by the end of today's stream. Doesn't cost any money. Really helps the channel, helps to bring more people in. So please do go and give the video a like and subscribe if this is your first time watching the show today. Let's have a look. Right. Joe says Ten Hag is really not handling this squad well. Watching Onana when Bayindir is available is definitely bad. How will he feel? Ten Hag is ruining his chances. Why? I agree, mate. I do. I think Bayindir deserves a chance. I really, really do. I think he deserves a chance. Al says, which United players are going to the Africa Cup of Nations? Well, obviously, Amrabat will be going because he plays for Morocco. Onana will be going. Hannibal's not going because he's going out on loan, I think either to Sevilla or Everton. And Amad Diallo's not going either, apparently. So 4 players should be going. It should be Diallo, Pellistri. Sorry, not Pellistri. He's from Uruguay. It should be Amad, Hannibal, Onana, and Amrabat. But the only 2 who are going are Amrabat and Onana. Hannibal's going on loan. Sevilla or Everton are the 2 clubs who are leading the race for him. And Amad Diallo is apparently staying at United because I think he's still coming back from injury and, you know, this is his opportunity to break into the team and all the rest of it. Franco says, Kieran, South Africa will win the Africa Cup of Nations. Maybe. I don't know. I am going to watch it. Laston says Sir Jim owns Nice, so is in charge of the sporting control of Man United. So now he is fighting and bidding against himself. Yeah, I mean, effectively he is, yeah. But he's also bidding against Chelsea and AC Milan. That's the point of the title. Chelsea, AC Milan and United are all in the race to sign Jean-Claire Todibo. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on the show today. Remember, going forward, the shows are going to be at about 10:45, 11 a.m. Every morning. And then in the evening, it'll be the same time as usual, about 6 o'clock. So you won't see me at 8:30 anymore. About 10:45, 11 a.m. That'll be the new show time. Thanks to everyone who's joined me. Please don't forget to smash a like before you leave. Please do subscribe. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.